this judgment, obviously, like the fruits of justice. For me and for our party, at the heart of election is the issue of who did the people actually voted for. Is there a case of impersonation on the part of the deputy governor-elect? Is there any other person who has turned up to claim that name as to raise doubt as to whether or not this was the deputy governor-elect, duly elected along with the governor during the Bayelsa governorship election? Now, where justice and democracy is sacrificed on the altar of technicalities, this, for me, constitutes a grave danger to our democracy. Nobody has raised issues about whether or not David Leon and his running mate won overwhelming majority in this said election. Issues of whether a chieftaincy title is part of a name or is not a name, in our view, could not be a reason to dismiss the wishes of the great people of Bayelsa State who repose absolute confidence in the way in which they elected David Lyon and his running mate during the last governorship election. But let me also say that it is not a state secret. If, as the Supreme Court has ruled, David Leon cannot now be sworn in as governor, and that the person who has the highest number of votes and a spread be sworn in, it simply means that from tomorrow there will be no government in Bayelsa State. Because as far as we know, the next candidate, because these facts are before courts, who happened to be a PDP candidate, does not have 1/4 of the total lawful vote cast. In that, 1/4 of the votes of the vote cast in that election, in 2/3 of the 8 local governments in Bayelsa State. And therefore, from the facts available to us, and in due consultation with our lawyers, it is clear that there is no candidate that meets the requirement of the Supreme Court, which means no one can be sworn in legally tomorrow unless there is deliberate abuse of the legal process. We have accordingly asked our lawyers to look at all the windows that exist in law and take steps to ensure that the will of the people of Bayelsa State is not undermined on the altar of technicalities. I am not a lawyer, but I don't need to be one. Because when judges make judgment, they are published, and what you can read and write, there are some that even laymen like me can understand. In 1999, there was a similar case in Bauchi involving Governor Adamu Muazu. The court nullified, found that his running mate was not qualified, for whatever reason, to contest that election. And accordingly, the Supreme Court nullified the election of Governor Adamu Muazu. And the court, as a consequence, directed INEC to conduct a fresh election. I believe it is still the same Supreme Court. And therefore, we've asked our lawyers to exploit all lawful legal windows to ensure that Bayelsa people have a governor of their own choosing. As it stands, the judgment of the Supreme Court, which talks about the person with required spread beside David Lyon, there is no any other person.